All right, peace to the family. Much love. Happy Sunday. June is going quick, man. We already halfway through the month, which is, time is flying. So remember, whatever you want to do, whatever your plans and your goals are, you know, make sure you stay on top of it because before you know it, the time will be gone. But just want to run through a list of vinyl records that's dropping this year, 2026. And I might just drop my comments on a few that I'm familiar with. But just to run through the list real quick, the first one is Jodeci Forever My Lady 35th Anniversary Edition, In Vogue, EV3, Capone and Noriega Reunion, Donna Summer, the Casablanca Studio Albums, the Lost Boys soundtrack Red Halloween, Stand By Me soundtrack in turquoise blue vinyl, Tevin Campbell, I'm Ready. The next one is a Eurodance compilation called Eurodance Collected. Now Yearbook 1999, another compilation. AZ, Do or Die 3, Ghetto Boys, We Can't Be Stopped, 35th anniversary. Nas, It Was Written. PM Dawn, the Bliss album. And this last one here was, I'm not sure about that. I will get back to you on that one. But the Jodeci album on vinyl, 35th anniversary edition. I think they got some remixes on this one. Um, it might be cool to have if you don't already have it. Um, I don't see anything really special about this particular release other than it's got 5 bonus tracks that I don't know hardcore fans might be interested in. But as a piece of nostalgia for 90s R&B, Jodeci, some of the best to ever do it. I love their music. Um, love their production, man. Who is it? Is it Devontae? Devontae Swing. I think he's a genius. So that's one to look out for. And that one's dropping. That one's dropping. It's dropping in a few days on the. It's dropping this Wednesday. This Wednesday. So Jodeci Forever My Lady 35th anniversary edition. The next one here is In Vogue EV3. Now I'm familiar with In Vogue. I remember seeing them when I was growing up, all through the 90s. Maybe probably one of the most prolific female R&B vocal groups of the 90s. Definitely they got some classics out there. And I remember their voices sounded really quite amazing. When all 4 of them start harmonizing, very powerful stuff. Um, so, when you look at the track listing, I see Don't Let Go, which I think is that song from the Set It Off soundtrack. And if so, I love that song. I love that video. That was a big hit. I get the urge to start singing it, but I'm not going to do that to y'all. So next on the list is Capone and Noriega, The Reunion. Capone and Noriega. I never heard this one. Never heard it. It was released. It originally was released in 2000. I know they had an album called The War Report. So I wonder, for their fans, I wonder where this album ranks on the list of Capone and Noriega, within the Capone and Noriega catalog, because sometimes, fans always say, well, this was their best album or that was their best album. But that's dropping on vinyl, in August 14th, Capone and Noriega, man. Shout out to NYC, the town. Next on the list, Donna Summer, the Casablanca Studio Albums. The Casablanca Studio Albums. Now you look at the price of this. This is $279. It's a box set of 10 discs. So you get 10 vinyl discs, 7 albums, 10 LP box set, 12 by 12 insert featuring new 3,500 word essay from Donna Summer. And I won't read all this, but I'll let you guys go through that. But I mean, you get 10 records in the box. It's nearly $300, but it looks like they are trying to give you something a little special. It seems like it's got a lot of extras and goodies attached to it. I think for a Donna Summer fan that could be interesting. Now I think they call her the Queen of Disco, and I'm familiar with some disco, but I've been meaning to really do a deep dive on disco, like I've been doing in house music. Like house music for the last I've been studying house music probably for the last 2.5 years. Um, you know, I, growing up in the '90s, I was exposed to house, but I never really took the time to learn kind of like the essence of it and the sources of it. And I always ask some of the old school DJs, some of the old heads, if you will, the people who were in the clubs. They were in Paradise Garage, they were in Zanzibar, they DJ'd there. um I follow some of these guys. They still DJ, which is why I say house is not dead. They still DJ. People who love house still play house music. I'm ranting now, but just bear with me. But those people who were on the scene, who kind of helped generate the house culture, I always like to ask them, what is house? Why is it important? What is the spiritual essence of it? Um, what does it, what do you think what does it do for people? That's what I mean when I say I've been studying house music, and I want to do the same thing for disco, because I've seen documentaries, I've seen TV programs, I've seen stuff on Amazon about disco. I saw a documentary on Studio 54, which was very good, by the way. I'll link that in the description. Um, but that disco era, that music was very good, and that the whole anti-disco movement, those people were I'll be careful with my words. Yeah, that those people were not worth anybody's time, energy, or consideration. Disco to me seems like it was a very beautiful music. It was very powerful. It was dramatic. It was fantastic. It made people feel good. Um, Even I listened to an old radio station here in Houston. They play 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s music, and sometimes they play those disco hits, man. And those are grandiose records. So I say all that to say, pardon my rant, but I say all that to say that I've I'm really beginning my study of disco music and the disco culture, the disco era. Um, and I'm very excited to go down that rabbit hole. And I mean, Donna Summer would be a great place to start. I don't think I'm going to start with this particular offering, seeing as how, it's $279. I'm not quite there yet with the fandom, so I'll hold off. I'll start with some. I'll start with some singles and whatnot. But who knows? I keep this on my radar. But Donna Summer, the Casablanca studio albums, a 7 album, 10 LP box set with a lot of different. Where's that? It's got a lot of stuff going on in this thing. All right, so the Lost Boys soundtrack, Red Halloween. Now, I don't have any information on this as far as exactly what it is. Red Halloween, I'm guessing that's going to be red vinyl. The Lost Boys, great film, great '80s film, great horror comedy. I think they may refer to it as very good movie to watch around Halloween time. Joel Schumacher, who famously did, what was it? Was it Batman and Robin, or Batman Forever? Uh, this was one of his better films. Uh, you know, I'm a big '80s film buff, so Lost Boys, I may add that to the collection. But Lost Boys soundtrack, Red Halloween, there you have it. Stand by Me, Stand by Me soundtrack, another great little film, another great little '80s movie. What was it? River Phoenix, rest in peace. Um, you know, It was a good little Stephen King story. Uh, you had your boy, was it Corey Feldman in there, the legend, Stand By Me soundtrack. So 38, 30, 38, 98. Feel like they're getting a little pricey these days. I mean, people have kind of complained about, vinyl prices getting crazy. Let's move on to the next one. This is Tevin Campbell, I'm Ready. Tevin Campbell, I'm Ready. Now, again, another great R&B record. Can We Talk? I'm Ready, which I love. I love that song. What else? Always in My Heart, Brown Eyed Girl. Those are all the ones that I know. Um, but I remember that. I remember the R&B, just that R&B wave of the '90s, man. There was nothing like it, really. Oh, and it says that this album was only released on vinyl. According to this, it was only released on vinyl in Jamaica. So, and this was 93, 94. I think this was the time when the the CD was kind of taking over the compact disc, which I think the compact disc actually came on the scene in like '89. Um, I didn't get my first CD till like 1990. I didn't get my first CD to maybe that I bought with my own money, 1997. I know that's late, but we were still messing with the cassettes and you know for a while because I think we just probably couldn't afford CDs just yet. Back in them days. I remember the CDs were like 14, 16, $18. So that's Tevin Campbell. I'm Ready. Now this one right here, this is a Eurodance compilation. Um, I think this might be good to have if you kind of want all those Eurodance hits on one piece of vinyl. You don't have to go digging through the crates when you want to do your Eurodance thing. Um, I you know when I buy Eurodance vinyl, I like to buy something that was actually pressed, you know, that was like those first pressings. It was pressed in 1993, pressed in 1994, because I just feel like I have a little piece of history, a physical piece of memorabilia for artists that I follow and artists that I like. This compilation is really nothing more than a playlist. Like I feel like you can make the exact same playlist on your streaming service, whatever streaming service you use, and you can probably make a better playlist and change it whenever you want. So I don't see the point of purchasing a playlist on vinyl. But again, you know, it's there for those who may be into that. Let's move on. Okay, so the now, now was uh, a brand of music compilation albums. And so this is a vinyl. And so everybody's getting in on the vinyl movement. Uh, and I think some of these labels and some of these labels may, they're blinded by dollar signs because the only physical media, the only physical music that's selling is vinyl. And I think they're trying to milk it for all it's worth, to be honest. Uh, and they got to be careful with that because if people get pissed off too much, they're just gonna move on. Uh, so yeah, this is the Now Yearbook 1999. So it's 3 discs and it's basically like an anthology of basically just all the big hits from the '90s. Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, Whitney Houston, Pet Shop Boys, Robbie Williams, TLC, Fatboy Slim, basically everything you ever saw on TRL, Ricky Martin, Shania Twain, Venga Boys, Alice DJ, uh, and Westlife. The list goes on and on. So basically, if you want a nice if you want a nice late 90s time capsule on wax, this is probably for you. But like I said, the compilations on vinyl, I feel like you can make your own playlist on Spotify, on Tidal, on Apple Music, whatever service you use, and you know, and probably have something, you know, uh, probably have something that's better than what you would find in a vinyl compilation. But again, it's there for those who may be into that. Next, AZ Do or Die. Um, you know, I love that AZ joint, Sugar Hill. Um, that I think that might be the only AZ song I'm really familiar with. His features with on the Nas records. Um, but I know like AZ comes from that era, that Nas, Raekwon, uh, B.I.G., Coogee rap, that mafioso era. uh, that NYC mafioso era. So I think he's very special in that regard. Uh, this is the this is the part three of the Do or Die series. Um, so yeah, I think the hip hop heads might be interested in this one. Sosa Returns, the trilogy Do or Die 3. So shout out to the legendary AZ. And that one's dropping July 10th. All right, next on the list, Ghetto Boys, We Can't Be Stopped. Ghetto Boys, We Can't Be Stopped. This is the one with My Mind Is Playing Tricks on Me. Rest in Heaven, Bushwick Bill. Big Up Jamaica. Legendary Scarface and Willie D. That My Mind Playing Tricks on Me, that video, when that video dropped, let's see, 90, 92, I'm like 10 years old. I remember that video used to scare me. I was getting scared. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh no, it was just a heavy video. And I'm a little kid, so I don't know, but I remember that big hit. Um, My Mind Is Playing Tricks on Me. Let's see what else they got on this one. We Can't Be Stopped, homie. Don't play that. Chucky. Okay, and then some other things I won't say on YouTube. But yeah, this was a big record, man. This was a 1991 breakthrough. We Can't Be Stopped, 35th anniversary edition, remastered, 2 LPs. Um, you know, some of the terminology that they're using with a lot of vinyl records, not Ghetto Boys, by the way. I'm not, what I'm saying? I'm not criticizing the Ghetto Boys, but some of these reissues and these re-releases, when I see terms like deluxe edition and remastered, it's those terms are almost meaningless. Like if you told me it was remastered by Kevin Gray or remastered by some well-known engineer, that would add more weight to it. You know, deluxe, like what does that mean? Like, does that mean gatefold, heavy cardboard jacket, uh, uh, lyrics, exclusive images, 180 gram vinyl? Like, what does that? Because I'm seeing too many mediocre packages that are being labeled deluxe edition, and it's like, okay, there's nothing deluxe about that. Moving on. Nas, It Was Written. Now, I saw this one as being this is being reissued. I saw it looked like the label was Sony UK. I don't see anything distinctive about this particular re-release, unless I'm missing something. Um, it seems like it's just kind of a standard reissue of Nas's. This was his second album, I want to say. Um, Nas, one of the greatest rappers of all time. Uh, you know, what more can I say about Nas? What up? What we got next? PM Dawn, the Bliss album. PM Dawn, the Bliss album. This is the one with the Die Without You, which was from the Boomerang soundtrack. That's the only track I know. I don't know this album and the music that's on it, but everything I've ever heard from PM Dawn, I've liked. Rest in heaven to Prince B. I think he was a genius. He was ahead of his time. Um, People forget that PM Dawn, their biggest hit was a rap record. Um, what is it? Set Adrift on Memory Bliss. He was rapping and singing, and so I've always appreciated PM Dawn because they've always been able to weave in and out of R&B and soul and hip hop and tie all that together with the flower power motif. And they weren't afraid to be who they were, and I think I think a lot of people identified with that. I certainly did. Um, and Prince B, his passing was, it's bittersweet, because you celebrate the music, but then you think about the artist who's no longer with us, and he was very young. I think he was 46 or 47 when he passed. But we try to celebrate the music and celebrate the best, and you know, life is life. Down in the description, I will leave a link to this list so you guys can go check it out. You can see all the release dates, the price, and everything. And if there's some stuff dropping this year that I don't know about, please let me know. All right, peace.